The technology I found in my school's supply closet was the overhead projector. For the first few years of my teaching career, we were encouraged to use this technology in the classroom. I found it awkward and cumbersome, requiring the replenishment of consumable supplies like markers and transparencies. In recent years, the overhead projectors have been put aside in favor of smartboards. The smartboard is an interactive whiteboard that is used alongside a computer and an Elmo, or document camera. This setup requires no special consumable supplies. Students find the smartboard exciting and deeply motivating. They can control the elements on the screen themselves, interacting with the information being taught. Students can play games or write on the screen, saving whatever they write to the hard drive of the computer. The smartboard allows for greater student involvement and participation in lessons. Tetrads are a visual expression of McLuhan's 4 laws of media. Each quadrant depicts a law. An emerging technology must do something new, drive an older technology into obsolescence, rekindle an idea from the past, and set the stage for its own replacement by a future technology. For this project, I interviewed decision makers and end users of technology at my school. The decision maker that I interviewed was Justin Thompson, one of the assistant principals.
I definitely think that the overhead projector was a good way for the whole class to see the teacher's work. This way the teacher could mark up a text or highlight important information, and the students could definitely see the proper procedure for watching. However, I sort of feel like, sometimes the bulbs would burn out or the projection would be too blurry for the class to see, and it seemed like the teachers spent more time setting up the projector than actually using them. I hadn't personally used the smartboards when we decided to purchase them from the school, but I did, however, attend a conference where one of the presentations talked about how great they were, and it even showed us how to use them. I guess they seem like a great tool, and I think the teachers would be able to easily adapt to it. Even if I think that some of them might be a little nervous using the technology, I do feel confident that we gave them enough training in the sport and they would get used to it. I really think the teachers are using the smart bars the way that we had thought about it. I guess they're collaborating to create and find different lesson plans and using the resources on the smart boards. I think kids are enthusiastic about using the smart boards. Whenever I've watched a lesson when they're used, the kids seem really engaged and energetic about the particular lesson. Well, I don't really know what we should do next. I mean, the smart boards already represent a large investment of time and money, and I'm not so sure that we're all so eager to move on to the next thing already. I think that we should just get the most we can out of what this new technology is, and we'll see in a few years what can be next.
The end user that I interviewed was Lisa Monzillo, a 4th grade teacher in my school.
I'd only used the overhead projector for a few years before they started introducing the smart boards. I did use the projector for some of my lessons, especially in math, but I honestly never really found them user-friendly. When they told me they were installing a smart board in my classroom, I'll admit I was a little nervous, but I didn't really know what to do with it or how much they expected me to use it in my lessons. I didn't feel like my concerns were addressed. The administrator seemed to think that I would just pick it up easily. Once it was installed, my feelings changed. Even before our training, I was able to teach myself a few things on the smartboard. It was seeing the kids' reactions the first time we used it that really turned things around. I put on a brain pop video to introduce a science lesson, and they were so excited. It was so much easier than tracking down the TV cart, dragging it down to the classroom for the kids to squint at. It was bigger, clearer, and much more easily set up.
The key principle of evolutionary technology is that a technology becomes more powerful over time as it evolves through several or many iterations. Evolutionary technologies help to explain how the overhead projector emerged as a new technology, and how smartboards came to replace them and render the overhead projectors obsolete. The overhead projector improved the way teachers could display information to students by allowing them to prepare lessons ahead of time that would be visible to students all around the room. This represented an improvement over the previous technology, the chalkboard. However, when the smartboard emerged as a new technology, its many advantages over the overhead projector ensured that it replaced the older technology. Before the smartboards that we currently use were developed, there were older models that had fewer features. The original smartboards were standalone interactive whiteboards whose projectors had to be located on a cart several feet away, necessitating constant recalibration of the devices. Newer versions placed the board on the wall, with the projector attached several feet above it, and projecting away from the wall by about 4 feet. The most recent smartboards use mirrors to enable the projector to remain closer to the wall, making the profile of the smartboard much more compact. The evolutionary force Rhymes of History refers to the idea that a new technology sometimes rekindles an idea from the past. Both the overhead projector and the smartboard remind me of cave paintings, such as those found in Lascaux caves in France. Ancient humans wanted to leave their mark on the walls of these caves to show off their artwork and preserve their memories for posterity. The overhead projector allows the temporary projection of work on a wall, while the smartboard allows one to directly write on the flat vertical surface, even saving the work on the computer if desired. The emergence of both of these technologies may be attributable to the human desire to display their work in this manner. The emergence of the smartboard over the overhead projector might have something to do with the human need for greater permanence. Ideas from science fiction can have a strong impact on the development and emergence of new technologies. The technology of Minority Report gives a glimpse into the idea behind the smartboard. Obviously, the smartboard technology is far from the fictional technology depicted in the movie, but you can see the similarity in the touch interface and the idea of information on a large interactive display instead of a traditional computer screen. Increasing returns and Red Queens. Increasing returns is a force that comes into play when two technologies are emerging simultaneously, but then one continues emerging and the other is discarded. Red Queens occur when two competing technologies propel each other to greater levels of evolution through their competition. I do not believe that these forces affected the emergence or obsolescence of my two technologies, as there were no technologies similar to the overhead projector when it emerged, for it to either overcome or to be overcome by. Similarly, the smartboard has no competing technologies that would allow either of these two forces to affect its emergence. Interactive whiteboards are made by several companies, but they are similar enough not to be considered wholly different technologies. Having made an enormous investment in smartboard technology, schools will probably be unwilling to send it off to the supply closet for a long time to come. However, new technologies are always being developed. Corning Glass Company is working on technology that provides new interfaces for students and teachers. This technology would abandon the projector altogether and allow the surface to display its own image. It might also allow greater interactivity between different surfaces, allowing a picture or file from one surface to be sent with a flick of the hand to another surface.